with Andrew Perrie from the Fine Estates team at Revel Realty. Thank you very much for being on today, Andrew. And let's start with
Of
you telling us
course.
a little bit about yourself and what brought you to sit in this chair with me today.
Well, you know what? I live here in Niagara-on-the-Lake in the Niagara region, of course. I started my team about a few months ago, and I'm with Revel Realty, and we're actually looking to expand the Revel umbrella into Niagara-on-the-Lake, where we do have a satellite office there.
Awesome.
But currently I'm focusing on the redevelopment of that office and really helping the brand grow into the luxury market down here.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, not a problem.
So we want to kind of get an idea of what your path looked like, your past, how you got here, and maybe a couple of lessons in your young professional journey that you kind of
Tons of
learned.
lessons. Yeah, tons of lessons.
Okay,
Where do
good.
we
Let's
begin?
hear them.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think the biggest lesson that I learned very quickly is that I grew my social media and my overall presence and brand fairly quickly. That attracted some high ticket listings, and when with the successful sales and closings of multiple homes in the 2, 3, 4, 500 range so quickly, I got really confident when those high ticket listings came in.
That's awesome.
So one of the biggest lesson that I learned is that if you're not prepared for the investment of a luxury listing, especially in the Niagara area, then you shouldn't be taking luxury listings.
Right.
So
Right.
I learned very quickly that as amazing as video is to help build your brand, build your team's brand and your brokerage's brand, really it doesn't sell luxury homes. And that hit really quickly, and I had to kind of sidestep and figure out how I could start getting some of these homes sold. So that was lesson number one of many.
It's a pretty big lesson.
Absolutely, for the financial reasons and
Yeah.
for almost the embarrassment a little bit of taking on something that I wasn't prepared for.
Right. And that's life, right? You got to fail forward, but as long as you
Yep.
learn from it, that's what's important at the end of the day, right?
It wasn't a mistake if I learned from it, I guess I would say.
There you go. Good way to
Yeah.
think about it. Awesome. And now let's talk about your path and your past and a little bit of lessons that you've learned along the way that you can share with us.
All right. Well, so it all began where, I was lost in my mid-20s, right? I mean, I think everybody was to some
Yes,
degree.
I
And
was.
yeah, so I actually had a good friend of mine, Ashley, who was dating a good buddy of mine. She got me involved with a company called LA Fitness, and she's like, Andrew, you're going to be great selling memberships. I think this would be a fantastic role for you. And so I went and worked for LA Fitness. I moved up the ranks fairly quickly, and even into a development role and team leader role. And where it actually took me to open up a club in Niagara Falls from the ground
Oh,
up. So
amazing.
that's where I moved here from Innisfil, Ontario. And from there, I met my wife. I hired her as a salesperson. The day that she quit, I asked her out. And,
Gotta wait till they're not working at the same company, right?
yeah, absolutely. And then from there, I actually got another promotion to move out in Weston, Edmonton. We were going to be taking over the Calgary market. That ended up not happening. But anyways, so it wasn't until I took a little bit of a vacation. I came home. My wife's family owns a winery down here in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I spent
Nice.
10 days there on my vacation. And I was so depressed when I was going home. So I knew that I wasn't living my best life. I was making great money, but I wasn't happy. I was working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. Even when my son was born, I had to, I got 7 days off. I went back after about 5.5, I believe. And it wasn't where I wanted to be in my life. And I knew that I had to make a change.
Right.
So we decided to move home, and it was a big debate. Should we go to Innisfil? Should we stay in Niagara-on-the-Lake? And I was like, well, maybe stay where the wine is might be a good idea. So we ended up
Idea.
staying here. But all jokes aside, it was much more than that. Not living in Niagara has been amazing. I love it down here. Yeah, and then so we were like, I made that decision before I moved. I said I wanted to get into real estate. A lot of good friends that I knew up in Barrie and in wealth. They were all killing it, and they seem to be living this really great life.
Right.
And so that leads into, I guess, lesson number one, where I thought that real estate agents, just like everybody, right? They make so much money.
Yeah.
All they do is open a door. All they do is sign a couple of just a facilitator, and that's it. And that was lesson number one that I learned very quickly. I'm like, how in the hell am I going to how am I going to get leads? Where did these sales come from?
People don't just call me.
People don't, it's like, okay, as soon as I put on Facebook that I'm a realtor, I thought the calls were coming in.
Of
right?
course. We all
Right.
do.
So lesson number one. And then from there, I basically, when I started, I just kind of implemented all the systems that I learned from LA Fitness, all the strategies that I could implement into my business and just transfer the service or product.
Right.
And we implemented that right away and started seeing, higher success than, I guess, your average realtor, which I'm very thankful for all my clients and my referrals.
Absolutely.
But I think it all has to revert back to having those systems in place.
That is a huge thing that I think a lot of
Yeah.
realtors miss, because you think, oh, I'm getting into real estate to have flexibility and do whatever I want when I want, right? And that's not the case. You got to have that solid foundation to run a business. And
Absolutely.
that's what it is, right? So that's awesome.
Especially in today's age of, super agents and super teams, it's very difficult to compete if you're not prepared.
Right. And that seems to be the way that it's going to be. It keeps proving time and time again that it's going to be teams, for sure. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm seeing anyway, right? So
that's right.
Good. So would you be able to tell us a bit about your luxury background? Like, when did that start for you? Was it right away? You did mention a little bit about kind of starting in the lower end price point.
Right. Actually, well, it happened fairly quickly, I guess you could say. If I was fully in operational mode 2 years ago in January, I got my first luxury listing over 2 million in July.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was a great experience, but that leads into lesson number two, where I did this amazing video. I had a social media plan laid out. I'm gonna send it to all across the world internationally. I'm gonna advertise it here, there, and nothing happened.
Right.
We got a whole bunch of showings. The marketing was enough to pique some interest, but it wasn't enough, because where we are, the percentage of international buyers is crazy, and not even that, national buyers, just outside the GTA buyers, that the percentage versus local buyers is so huge. And so one of the things that I basically learned very quickly is that you can't just sell a house by posting on social media and having realtor.ca. So it was a little bit of an embarrassment for me, but it was also a really great method of learning, right? That fail forward, that
fast too,
learning
right?
from your mistakes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how it all started.
Good. Very good. So I guess you did kind of tell us a little bit of how you got there. So that's great. So how did you position yourself so quickly, especially as a luxury expert?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about marketing, social media, and branding, and everything like that. So social media advertising, videos, great for building your brand, personal brand, social brand. That's what really matters. But also, and realtors. A large percent of them are realtors.
Right.
So what I did was I built a close working relationship with a lot of different realtors across all social media platforms. And as I was starting to build that brand, build that credibility,
right,
I had the support of other realtors behind me. So, for example, if I leave a listing presentation, after I leave, I send them an ad via Facebook, right? So they are scrolling Facebook after I leave. They see me, they click on it, and they'll see a lot of likes, shares, and comments. It is from other realtors, but it helps me come across as the authority in that marketplace, and makes me look a little bit more credible. And that's kind of how I started to build that authority as the expert in the area.
Which is
Yeah, absolutely. I leveraged the support of my network, and that's the number one, as well as leverage my marketing abilities as well, and leverage our marketing department, because at Revel we have our own in-house marketing department they've done commercials for Chevy, for hospitals, for a large amount.
Bringing in the big guns.
Yeah, absolutely. So we brought in the big guns, and we helped build that high quality brand that is known in the luxury market.
That's amazing. And one thing I think is lacking, or not always, but I don't think agents always get that. We work together even though we're competition, and that our other agents can help us 100%. Do that, right?
Yeah.
I think people miss out on that for sure. So.
Exactly. And that's one of the ways that I helped that my network helped me gain that credibility and support, is that I offer a whole bunch of value to them in terms of whether it be referrals, which is actual real tangible financial value,
right.
Or something a little bit more creative, like, sharing how to create your own social media ads using Canva, or using Photoshop, or using iMovie, or giving tips on, how to create your own logo or brand, and something that people can do on their own, so they're not wasting all their financing on just something so simple as building a brand. And I think when people see me put myself out there for others, they in turn start to engage more with me, connect with me, and it builds that rapport.
And see the value, right? For both. It's a win-win.
So, absolutely.
Awesome. Right, let's shift gears a little bit here.
Okay.
So being in the luxury market, obviously they're very large investments. And you got to build the trust with your prospective clients because of that. How do you manage that?
Well, you know what? It's tough. Well, it was tough in our market down here in Niagara-on-the-Lake, because it's a town of 15,000 people. It's a very small town, and the average agent has been in the industry down there probably 30, 40 years.
Right.
And not to put anybody down because of their length or age in the industry, but they do kind of have an upper hand because they've been in the market for so long.
Right. They're a name that's established, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so how is a young guy like me going to break into that market and build that trust? So one of the main things obviously is hitting them hard with a marketing and farming campaign, which is, anything to do with your average gloating posts. So like, hey, I sold this house in your area. Hey, I'm your neighbor. Hey, let's work together. Local expert, yada, yada, yada. Coupled with a video campaign where, hey, I'm at this winery. Make sure you guys all go check it out.
Right.
Or, hey, we're at this brand new ice cream shop, gelato, that just opened, yada, yada. There's a whole lot of marketing and thought that goes behind the creativeness and the advertisement. But let's kind of break away from the fluff and talk about, why do I think that the clients are actually coming and working with me. And I'm not plugging a company, or not trying to, at least, but this was lesson number 3. So this is a company called Homes and Land.
Right.
That when I was first getting into the business, I reached out to them, and I was like, well, I don't really feel like getting involved in a paper-based advertising company, because print is dead, right?
Right.
Well, and maybe that's correct, but actually not in our market. Our market is 60 plus, 70 plus. There's a lot of people. There's 3 local papers, for crying out loud. So the print is actually huge. But anyways, Homes and Land isn't a paper-based advertising company. It's a digital-based advertising company. So essentially, that happens to have a book. That's right. So every time I go into a listing presentation, I come with this little sheet. It has a 5-tier advertising campaign. It's got our web strategy, Facebook, Twitter. Everybody does that, right?
Right.
The homeowners can do that. They don't even need me to post.
Right.
They don't even need agents to post in the paper, right? So if you're going to sell in the luxury market, you have to come at them with some value. Show them why you deserve that 5 or 6%. So, we advertise it. Absolutely. We advertise in the Globe and Mail, golfhomes.com, Craigslist, obviously, the Rob Report, Unique Homes. This is our international strategy that reaches from the Wall Street Journal in Europe, China, Asia, India, Latin America.
Wow.
And, we have Zoomer.com. So I build the trust by having that familiarity. Is that even a word? Anyways.
Sure, it is now.
Yeah, I build up that credibility and awareness by putting my face in front of their computer, in front of their mobile phones, and then I follow it up with a huge value prop, which is my national, local, and international advertising campaigns. And a lot of agents aren't doing that. They're just leveraging the fact that Niagara-on-the-Lake is a huge tourism area, and they're just banking on those for sale signs and walk-bys to sell the home. And I think once you go into that listing presentation and you say, hey, look, here's what you don't need me for. You don't need me for social media. You don't need me for YouTube. You don't need me to even find the value of your home. I know Zillow's coming into Canada. I've heard that Zillow estimates are way off, but I can't speak to that because I've never worked with them.
Right.
But there's tools out there to find out this information yourself. So what are we as agents? And when I start the listing presentation off like that, it blows them away.
Right.
And Homes and Land is the only company out there that's offering all this local and national and international strategy all in one umbrella. And it's fantastic. And I tell them that, and I win them over. Say, okay, here's a young guy who understands branding. He understands marketing. He understands the back end of it, targeting, et cetera, et cetera. And he also understands, okay, where are the best places to put my home? So again, once you go in there with that conviction that you've got this strategy behind your confidence, that's how I win them over.
And that's amazing, especially if not all other agents are doing that. So how is it a subscription that you subscribe to, pay for? Is there exclusivity for each area, or how does that work?
Yeah. So the way it works is that you can choose if you want a full page ad, a half page ad, and the prices vary from there. However, whichever program you go with, it's all of that 50 or 60 websites that I just listed off, they all get, you can upload all your listings to them. So if you only have one listing that you want to put in the book, you can put 100 listings behind you for their advertising on the digital distribution system. Okay. So it is a subscription. You can choose, I think, 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, I think. Okay. The price, the longer you go, the lower the price is. But let's put it this way. The problem is that when I bring this up on Facebook, everybody gets very standoffish. They're like, well, no, I'm not. Well, how many leads do you get a month from that? I'm not, that's a car payment.
Yeah. Where's the ROI? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the ROI of that billboard all that social media boosting that you do? You're wasting $200, $300, $400 a month boosting posts that aren't doing anything for you. In terms, I mean, you might be getting, I got 30 leads yesterday. Yeah, but how many of them resulted into a sale? Right. So the biggest thing about Homes and Land is that it's a value prop to gain more listings. It's you doing the best that you can do to advertise your clients' homes. Because if you want to advertise on any one of these sites, it's like $300, $400, $500 a month just to list on one individual site. Wow. So if you were to call up the Rob Report or Mansions Global that only does, $1 million USD plus. Okay, I'd like to advertise, my listing on your website. That could be $500 a month. Wow. Right. So if you're paying,
luxury doesn't necessarily sell within the first 30 days because it's
correct.
Sort of a niche market, right? You're a lot longer.
Absolutely.
Typically, right?
Absolutely. And if you're taking a luxury listing thinking that you're not going to advertise it properly on international or national distribution channels, then you're kidding yourself, and you should not be taking that luxury listing, because you're really going to affect that person's listing for the future to come. So my very first listing that I got was already, and again, I'm not trying to make excuses or anything like that. But it
Right.
had already been on the market 1 year with another agent, 1 year with another agent.
Right.
So when I took it over, the reputation had already been damaged. But within the first, 3 months, I brought in 3 offers. We now have 5 separate offers, which mean nothing because the 2 didn't work out. We
Right.
accepted 2 of them, but I was the only agent to bring in those five offers, and we have a minimum that we're willing to accept. And we got there twice, but unfortunately with the sale of properties couldn't work out.
Didn't
But
quite, yeah.
my point is that if you're going to get into the luxury market, you have to get with some type of international marketing plan.
Do you know approximately, you did throw some stats out there, approximately how many people from out of country or even off another continent buy in your area?
I wouldn't want to lie to you and make up a stat, but what I do know is that I believe in 2017, it was close to almost 70% of buyers were coming from the Oakville, Milton, Mississauga, Burlington, Georgetown area.
Okay. So at least out of area within the province.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you get closer down into Old Town, which Niagara-on-the-Lake is basically 3 or 4 different markets. You have Virgil, you have St. David's, you have Rural, which is the farming community, and then you have Old Town, which is the ultra unique, luxurious type of Cape Cod, Hamptons. Yeah. And so they're all different markets. In Old Town, you do see a lot higher percentage of the international buyers.
Okay. Very good. And what would you say is because homes are so expensive these days, even for like out our way, what you can get for your money it's shocking to me. What would you say is the starting point for luxury, like price point wise?
That we have under the Fine Estates umbrella.
No, I mean, just like where would you say, like, as of $1 million, that's luxury, or 800,000? Like, what's the starting point for actually the luxury category?
Yeah. Okay. So that all depends on the actual listing itself.
Okay.
But typically it could start at 8, but in Old Town, anything that's worth presenting at 8 might not even be that luxurious.
Right.
So we always, if it's going to be on Niagara-on-the-Lake, it's always on our international strategy, 100%. But how it gets that luxury branding and feel is if it really appeals to the most discerning buyers. Okay. So it could be a $1.5 million house, but it's on the water, but it needs a lot of work.
Right.
So we'll provide the full luxury service that we do, but in terms of a branding or marketing standpoint, maybe we won't showcase the entire home. We'll showcase it as an investment or something like that.
So it's not necessarily price point, it's what it has to
Correct.
offer. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good. And you had mentioned a little bit about, posting and boosting on Facebook, social media, and that kind of thing. So obviously, well, from what I've seen, you have quite the following, but you're not really, in terms of your marketing and boosting that kind of stuff. Can you give us some clarity on how you got that, especially if it's not just real estate, but just kind of boosting the brand, the market, that kind of thing? How did you get there?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So the way it started was it started with the actual thought of building my network and building a brand in terms of creating that credibility so that I can become the authority in my marketplace. So it didn't happen by accident. So essentially I got
usually doesn't.
Right. So I got into this group of just around 20,000 realtors on Facebook. I started posting, once a week, once a month, and then it went to once a week, once every couple of days. And everybody who liked, comment, or shared, I would reach out to them, strike up a conversation, add them to my Facebook. So I went from 2,000 friends to 5,000 friends in a matter of, months. Wow. But it wasn't just click, add, click, add, click, add. It was carefully thought out. I wanted to build my network of like-minded individuals that are most likely to engage with me on a daily basis. So now that I have as far as I can go in terms of friends on my Facebook, it was time to start implementing those plans on other platforms. So LinkedIn, I have over 7,000 connections, and then
Wow.
Instagram, it's like something 11.7 thousand followers, but now I think it dropped down to 11.6 or something. But
Oh,
anyways,
no big
so
deal.
it's all carefully planned out so that I can be involved or engaged with like-minded individuals, so that now anytime I post a picture or a video, the videos will get a minimum of 1,000 views. The photos will get a minimum of 100 to 200 likes. And that, again, helps build that credibility. But it also helps me improve more people's business, because, believe it or not, a lot of people still watch out for my posts to see if I'm going to be offering any type of value. And I do that for a lot of realtors as well. And
Right.
some realtors that don't even stand out to me as, this big influencer, but I take a little bit from everybody, no matter if they're in the business 4 months or 4 years or 40 years. I'm always watching everybody on my Facebook, trying to pick apart, oh, that sounds cool, I could do that. Oh, that's something that I should not do because of their experience.
Right.
So it's all a balancing act, and it's something that is worked on every day, multiple hours a day. You don't want to see my average screen time that Facebook or Apple sends to me every day. It's terrible.
That's funny, because that was actually my next question, is how many hours in the day, or how much time and energy is actually spent on that. Sounds like it's quite the job.
Yeah, it's from when I wake up to when I go to bed. There's no set time. It's constantly throughout the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you go about reaching out to people? Do you have like a prefab message that you send to kind of introduce yourself, or do you do it personal to each person?
Oh yeah, I do it personal to each person, 100%. People will smell a copy and pasted
Yes.
message from a mile away. So, for example, let's say John comments on one of my posts. I'll reach out to John and say, hey, John, thank you very much for reaching out, or thank you very much for engaging on my post. I really like that idea that you gave me. Is there any way that you'd be interested in joining my network? Love to have like-minded individuals like you as a part of it. Can I send you a friend request or something like that? Something simple. If I have too many like if I don't have enough room to add any more people, I would be like, okay, well, maybe we can connect on our business pages.
Okay. Yes, because
Yeah, and then
that gives you a lot more room, right?
yeah, absolutely. Or you could still you can still go to my personal Facebook page, and if I don't have any room to add another friend, you can still follow me,
Right.
and I can see you can see me, but it's just a weird, hey, sorry, I can't add you as a friend, but you can still follow me by clicking, it's just, that seems too impersonal.
Right.
I just want to, hey, let's connect on our business pages, so that way it's a win-win. I like yours, you like mine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm honored that I got accepted then.
Yeah, you must have made
I made the cut.
Right time. Yeah. People are deleting me every day. Every day, I'll start off in the morning with 5,000. I'll end the day with 4,998. So people are always deleting me, and that's good because we're making room for the people that want to stay.
That are interested. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, and so I think you've touched on this a little bit, but I'll ask anyway.
Sure.
Other than repeat referral, what is your other biggest source of business?
The biggest, oh man, I guess I would assume, because again, it goes back to that, how do you calculate that ROI? I mean, really, right. I should be bringing in like a checklist. Hey, how'd you hear about me? But which you should yes. actually be doing that. Yeah. I'm surprised that I don't, but it's something I should look into.
Something you can implement.
Yeah, but I think because the age demographics in Niagara-on-the-Lake, there's a lot of people on Facebook down here, that over 50 range, 60 range. And I think just with the amount of organic sharing that my network does, a lot of it gets to them in that type of viewership, so it doesn't look like a sponsored post. I
Right.
think that's what really helps. And then, then I follow up with hitting them up on Instagram, or following them up with an ad or a video, or even the newspaper. So I'm very heavily involved in the growth and development of Niagara-on-the-Lake itself. So I'm kind of like that silent influencer to help kind of bring people here through my videos and the lifestyle type of marketing that I do. So I
Amazing.
think, yeah, and I play hockey every day in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and every time I come in, they're like, "Oh, I saw you in the newspaper." "Oh, I saw your new video bringing people to that new winery. That's awesome. Hey, do you have time to come by my house after hockey? We can kind of go over what you think my house is worth." So it's all these small touches. It's a very
Right.
town, and I think just being involved every day on a consistent basis is the number one. Next to repeat business and referrals, of course, that brings me my business.
Well, that makes sense. People want to see that you're a real person, that you're out there in the community. So that definitely helps for sure.
Absolutely. And real, like no stock footage, no stock images, real people having real
Yep.
conversations in your community.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you
Mhm.
for that. You've been sharing a lot of amazing things. I'm excited to
No
ask the next
problem.
question because I'm really curious. Future of your business, next 1 year to 5 years.
Yeah.
What's your plans to kind of move forward?
Well, that's a really good question, and there's some things that are under the hat right now with Revel, because Revel Realty is growing like crazy, and we got 5 offices now. But one of the most important things, and the reason why I got involved as much as I have with my brokerage, and the people around me that really want to make a difference, is I've always wanted to stay in Niagara-on-the-Lake, sell in Niagara-on-the-Lake, become that expert, and make sure that I'm the go-to guy down here. So my 1-year plan is to ensure that I've built up the proper following and the proper brand base in Niagara-on-the-Lake exclusively. So yes, I'll still sell houses in Grimsby and Fort Erie and towns that are
Right.
15-20 minutes around my radius, but my heavily focused branding is going to be focused in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I want to run the team and run the office there to ensure standards are in place. So year 1 is to ensure that there's standards in place, the branding's consistent, the marketing's consistent, so that every time you hear of Revel or the Fine Estates team or Andrew Perrie or any other salesperson working out of the Revel umbrella in Niagara-on-the-Lake, that everything's consistent, not
Right.
just the marketing, but the way you talk to your clients, the way you service your clients. I want to make sure that anybody who's selling in Niagara-on-the-Lake is connecting with their clients 1 to 3 days a week. I want to know that you're consistently making that contact with them.
Right.
And so that's year 1. And year 5, I want to implement and copy that standard and implement it into other luxury towns. Burlington, Oakville would be amazing.
Right.
Barrie, Ontario, my hometown, and just recreate those systems into other cities and really create a further brand that is a representation of myself and how I do my business. That's 5 years. And then in 10, and
I'm
then
sure
in
there's
10,
more too.
yeah, in 5 to 10 years, I want to be outside that role and working more of a consultant recruitment specialist and really start to build the brand and the web out, so that eventually I would be the person who's just running the play from behind. And I've got, ground people, I've got district managers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and really build on that corporate platform to help, service our clients all over the world eventually.
That is absolutely amazing. You've
It's a
obviously
big
thought a lot
dream, but
about it. Hey,
yes, I think about it every day, actually.
do you write it down? That's my question.
Of course, of
Good.
course.
Good.
If
They
you've
say
seen my calendar, it's all scribbles.
as long as I hear your success increases dramatically when you write your goals down and you have an action plan. So that's amazing. I wish you luck, and I think I'm going to be seeing big things from you in the next 1, 5, and 10 years. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Very
Good
excited.
stuff. So my question to you is, in your time as a real estate agent, what has been the biggest win in your career so far?
Well, in my first year, I'm sure you know Amy Youngren, obviously,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Huge, powerful influencer in the real estate world. And I guess my big win in the last 2 years was she was named number one number one agent dominating social media.
Oh,
And I
cool.
was named number two. So
Awesome.
yeah, I had a far stretch to get from that 2 to 1 because she's like crazy up here and she's
Right.
amazing and she's just such a nice person. I love her. But to be even considered in the same realm as her and the group of others that were named on that list, that was a very high accomplishment.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Unfortunately, I was beat out by a guy here in Niagara, Jerry Hendricks. He's a really close friend of mine from Remax. He beat me out as marketer of the year this year, but I'm coming for Jerry this year. But
Watch out.
other than that, yeah, I mean, out of 1,300 realtors or so, I was in the top 10.5% this year, which is great for a second year. There's still
Absolutely.
100 people in front of me, but I've got a long way to go. But I think the biggest win, and if I could be completely candid, not to sound too spiritual, I think the biggest win is that I finally feel that I'm in the right place in my life to enjoy myself, enjoy my family, enjoy my business, and really take life for what it is, which is something so special.
Right.
And
That's amazing.
it sounds, all spiritual and all that, but it really has made me a huge difference in my life that I know that I'm in control. I have the ability of freedom of time and finance, and I can just really start to live my life the way I want to and grow it the way I want to. Nobody else tells me when I should wake up. I wake up early, but nobody has to tell me to
You
do that.
choose to do that.
No alarm, nothing. I just wake up and go about my day.
You're right. You're jazzed to get up in the morning because you've got to that
Absolutely.
place, right? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
Thank you for being so honest about that. That's amazing. And, I've gone through times in my life where I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And then that moment when you're like, I see that I am on the right path, that is
Yep.
such a gift for sure. So thank you
Absolutely.
for
I
sharing.
agree. And that's why I try to help as many people as well, because if I can help improve somebody's life to his point where they're on my level in terms of living a great life, then I think that's almost like, it's just something that needs to be done. If I have the ability to do it, it needs to be done.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
No problem.
So do you have 2 to 3? I know we're kind of touched on a bit of them as well before.
Yep.
Simple ways that a new or young professional can kind of get into the luxury market.
Yeah. Okay. So number one, team up with somebody who's already doing it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're watching this podcast and you're in the Niagara area, let's connect. We'll have coffee, whatever. I'm always looking for great people to work with. They don't necessarily have to join my brand or join the Revel umbrella, but love to get together and we could, I was going to swear.
I appreciate you stopping yourself.
Yeah. So, and we could just talk business and talk life and we can really get into how to get you started. But another main thing, and this is what I did, is I came out of the gate so strong in terms of marketing. I made sure that I was well known, not just by other realtors, but by potential buyers and sellers. And that's the main thing, is you got to go out and you got to brand yourself and you got to hit social media hard. You got to hit the farming, go knock on doors. The best way to do it in the luxury market is to knock on those doors, because half of them aren't on Facebook anyways.
Fair enough.
So that's, a couple of points right there, but the third point is just make sure that you have, for your first listing, a few grand saved up and you're prepared for those costs that it takes to get a luxury home sold.
Awesome. And just kind of a follow-up to that, what would you say to somebody that thinks like, oh, I can't knock on a $2 million home store, or like a limiting belief that they're not, knockable doors essentially?
Yeah. Well, look, real estate is a people business. So get past the fact that they're not going to be receptive to you, because you might not win them over the first time, but when you send them a thank you letter for even having a conversation with you, they start thinking about it. And then you follow that up with a Facebook plan that targets that address. It's these small little touches that help build the trust. So don't worry about it if you upset anybody at the first time. But then here's where it's going to get a little bit more critical, and I'm going to get a little bit more serious with you, is that if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to advertise the property, if you're not willing to door knock, if you're not willing to do what needs to be done to get it done, then I'm sorry, but real estate isn't the game for you. Because even in the luxury market, you should be doing these small things every day, or at least a few times a week anyways. And if you're not going to be doing it, then the industry isn't for you, because, you know, yes, we have splits. Yes, we have taxes, but we do get paid fairly well to do our job that we do.
Right.
And only those who are deserving of that should be in the business.
You have to put the legwork in.
Yeah. Gone are the days where you can just put a for sale sign up and this house sells in a couple of weeks.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You've been very honest and open, and it's been so great. Was there any last thoughts you wanted to share with us? Something we didn't talk about yet?
No, not at all. I think if you're going to do it, do it. No excuses, 5-second rule. You know, if you think, oh my gosh, I really should knock on that person's door. Oh my gosh, my neighbor told me that this person was thinking of selling. I should really go over there. Go over there now. Do it. Because you won't get it done. And then the other thing is, if you're just getting started in luxury and you want to advertise your luxury homes across the globe, go reach out to Homes and Land, just because they have a beautiful package that you click, you upload your listing and it gets sent to literally 60 websites plus across the world. So that's a great place to start. And then number 3, if you don't know what you're doing, just reach out to somebody and ask. We're all in this together. If you're really unsure of yourself, co-list the property with somebody and learn from that experience. Get involved.
That's great advice. Have that support, a mentor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. All right. One last question from me today.
Sure.
The mega question of the day. If I were to hit a button, reset your business, right back to the start. So 3 years ago for you, or 2 years ago when you actually started trading, what does the first 90 days look like for you? Same knowledge, no money.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do anything differently, because like I said, I came out of the gates very strong. I was creating videos every day. But if I had to change one thing, I would have got my name out there sooner, so that the day that I got my license, I was ready to sell and had agreements in hand. Right. So I would have done more door knocking. I mean, you have to be very careful what you say before you get your license. Right. But I would have essentially farmed the area in more of a passive way. Say, hey, just to let you know, I'm getting into the business soon and would love to take you out for coffee and get to know you, et cetera, et cetera.
My license comes through on this date. I'll be there the day after.
Exactly. Start building that database before I got my license. I did it a little bit with friends and family, but I would have definitely done it on a much larger scale.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Andrew. It's been awesome. I know that people are going to take away some amazing tidbits from this for sure. I definitely am. So again, thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have such a great day, and look forward to connecting with you.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you later, guys.